Hey Angela, how you doing? I got your work up in a separate window so we can go ahead. I was just reading your writing. I used exposure, hue, saturation, adjustment layers on the spots here. Picture the combination of these layers and the ratios help make the colors richer. I'm having a little bit of an issue with the colors, and I'm going to describe this to you. And I don't know if it's a JPEG or a PDF rendering, but we really have to address some issues here with color. Let me go ahead and take a look. I've got the ad up here, so I just want to bring this into view in the window so we can see the whole ad. Okay, so the problem I'm having with the color is this, is that it's really a washed out image, meaning that there's not a whole lot of contrast. Washed out means that there's not a lot of variation between the lightest areas and the darkest areas in the image. Now, basically what you want to do, you want to enhance any image to increase the contrast. I would say a levels adjustment layer is probably the most expeditious way to do so. Um, I would recommend you do another adjustment layer, and this is trying to increase the contrast associated with background image. But before we do that, I do want to talk about the background image. Now, listen. Now, the point I want to make is this: is that you're showing excellent proficiency in the techniques needed to prove your that you're adhering to the learning objectives and the course outcomes, right? So you're showing beautiful proficiency, all right? Your type is set nicely. Your masked image is not showing any indications of the background. Logo is placed with no distortion. So your typeset is good. Everything is pointing well except for that background image. Um, as I said, the background image, not only is it washed out, meaning the adjustment layers are not as effective as they could be, but I just think it's a really busy image. It's not the most attractive image in the world for a Caribbean ad. Okay, so we're looking at these different examples, and if you look at some of your classmates' examples and you look at the examples and I'm not trying to discourage you at all, please understand, I'm just being as honest as I can. If you look at the examples in the announcements area, plus a lot of your classmates' examples, we see these wonderful, beautiful, engaging images of Caribbean beaches and boats and uh, surfboards and beautiful mountains and palm trees and these gorgeous imagery. Okay, and then we have this image that isn't even really indicative of the Caribbean. So my point is, if we're going to do an ad on the Caribbean, let's make it obvious that it's an ad in the Caribbean. So when I open this page, let's say I'm sitting somewhere in a doctor's office and I grab a magazine and I start paging through it. I open this page. To me, it's not compelling. And the reason it's not compelling is because it's not using um, the most powerful thing that your client has going for them is their location. It's the Caribbean. It's considered to be the most beautiful area by many in the world. So that's why I think it's important to emphasize that area via imagery, as opposed to giving an image of the inside of a spa, that this spa could theoretically be located right at the corner of my street, right? So I'm just seeing a missed opportunity here to create a high level of engagement by using an image that's indicative of the location and um, the branding attempts of your client. Okay. My recommendation is to change the background image. Now, listen, I would go ahead and start getting into, layout and composition and things, but you know what you're doing. I mean, you've got a good understanding of hierarchy and page mechanics. So I'm going to leave that as it is. I don't want to make any comments because we're going to go ahead and change the background image anyways. And I really, really high. Now you're not required to. I mean, it's not like, look, you're showing proficiency. You're going to get the grade that you've earned, right? We know that. But the problem is that it could be more compelling. So the point I'm trying to make is you're not required to. You're showing proficiency, but in terms of working this to a point where it would be suitable for a portfolio presentation, I would recommend changing the background image. As a professional portfolio reviewer, which I do, I review portfolios for AIGA Cleveland, AIGA Denver, and a few different areas in the country, and I have been for the last 20 years. I probably review at least 1,000 to 1,200 portfolios per year, and I'm not exaggerating at all. I look at portfolio work literally every single day of my career. So I've got extensive experience, and I know exactly what a portfolio reviewer or a hiring professional is going to say or think about this piece, and it has to do with the background image. Okay, I don't want to harp on this, but I do think it's very, very important. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and say I would like to see the background image replaced. If you have any questions at all, or if I can provide any further clarification, you know, I'm right here. I'm a click away, and you ask me questions on my responses are immediate. You're not waiting for me for a response, so don't not ask a question thinking that it's going to take too long to get a response. I'm pretty much immediate, many times within a matter of hours. So, okay, so the important thing at this point is to let me know if you have any questions at all. Let me know my comments make sense to you. All right, so I'd like to see those changes reflected in your final magazine ad. If you'd like to shoot me an example of what you're working on, that's great. I'll make some comments and get you directed in the right path. Okay, great start though. Really good proficiency. It's just that gosh darn background image. All right. Oh, and as I said, the important thing at this point is let me know if you have any questions. All right, great. Thank you.